I need to get prepared for the model show. I'm gonna build till I can't no more. Models in the back, I got models left to pack. Models left to build, need to get some Matty Black. Oh, God. Welcome back to part 4 of the E11 Blaster build. Lessons from the past. Obviously, we're getting kinda punchy. Don't ask. Anyway, so all the hard stuff's done. The welding, the sanding, the brazing, the grinding, all that hard stuff is done. Now we're down to making it look like a blaster, which really isn't that hard. What I realized, I made a couple of videos of me doing stuff like casting the T tracks and everything, and I have all this content, and it just looked boring. I'm just like, what? Nobody wants to see that. You know what they want? You're on the 4th video. They want to see a product. They want to see the final product. So, here it is, the finished product. We had 3 projects that we had to do. One, we had to do the T-tracks, which we took the parts from the windshield wiper blade. We cast them in a resin mold, and we made the T-tracks. Laid them. We sanded them to shape to cover up where the hole was. I was originally going to go with 7 and cover this last row up, but I just like the way these holes would have looked here, so these holes weren't here. Next on the agenda was drilling the holes. First, I liked the pattern. I had seen a lot of people just had a straight line of holes down there, and that just looked boring to me. And I saw a couple of guys had done 2 holes and then a space and then the rest of the holes. So that's what I decided to go with. The problem I had last time that I solved this time was that my drill bits were just not up to the task. I had drill bits for metal, but not for heavy metal. You combine that better drill bit with a good drill with a full power pack, money, man. It was just awesome. The one thing I would change was, instead of a 3-step process, pilot, hole, and then a little bit, and then to final size, I would add a fourth rather, hole in there. So I'd have the pilot hole and then 2 step up holes and then the final hole. And that way it would give, I could move up the line drilling and then come back with the next row, and by the time I got back here to the first hole, it would have been had a chance to cool a little bit, because you would still have the problem of heat buildup, work hardening. So, but that was that. So that was project 2. Project 3 was the scope mount rather. The scope mount was made from aluminum that I got from the hardware store. It's 1/16 by 34 by 4 feet. So this is all I have left, because this is the same piece that I bought years ago to do the first one. The funny thing was, in making this, for the most part, I made the same decisions as far as where I mounted it and how I mounted it, except for on the front. The last time I had all the holes, and I had this front end just going into one of those holes and hooking in there, and it wobbled. Didn't want that. So once I got this the right shape, the right height, I bolted it down, and it was still flat, and I took the hammer and a piece of metal rod and just bent it down, because it's aluminum, so it conformed to the shape of the body, and it looks great. The the screws that I used, for whatever reason, button head Allen caps look sci-fi. I love using those. For whatever reason, it looks sci-fi. I did not purposely paint the scope. I was in the booth, I was ready to paint it, and there's just something that said, this thing has lasted it's a World War II tank spotting scope, and I don't know when exactly it was produced, but it was produced a long time ago, and I just did not feel that for this project I had the right to cover up that history, even if this just sat in some military barn for whatever, or on a shelf. It was still built a long time ago, and just to help preserve that history, I wanted to just leave it unpainted. So I'm very happy with that. Oh, actually, there was another project. I had to cut down the magazine, and so we went from the big long banana clip to this guy. With this, basically all I did was kind of peeled it like a banana. I took the mag tube. We're gonna grab the mag. I took the mag tube. There you are. And I cut it down to size. Then I cut my corners and bent the flaps out, and then cut it down to where the cap would slide on there. I had to take the spring, cut the spring down, because the rollers inside, the inside has no bearing on the rest of this. I don't even need it. I just like that it's still in there. You never know. So, what we're going to do now is basically just assemble it. So, the magazine goes in. Get it out. So that goes in. Okay. And then we have our bolts. We have this here to pull that back. Come on. There you go. In there. Whoop. Okay, I've already got my trigger group in there. So that slides there. I'm going to go ahead and let you fall forward. Then spring. This is kind of the tricky part, because this cap has to go on the end. There, you have to push that in. Right, yeah. Like that. There. Yeah. Yeah. Oop. Take our tape off here. There. There you go. And you can pull that back and lock the bolt back. And I love this sound. Hold on. You gotta hear that again. Hold up. That is awesome. The only problem I had was there is a pin that holds the trigger group and the handle all together, and I can't find it. I had it, and I was doing the test assembly, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I ordered another one. It was only $5. It'll be here in a couple of days. But I know I say this every time. I can't believe I got done that quickly. That still works. It should actually fit on there and lock in, but that's, yeah, I can live without that. That's not what I want to do with it anyway. But I have a blaster gun, and it's not light, but it's done. It is done, and I'm happy. So I'm gonna put some pictures up so you can check it out. I guess it's time for you to go build something. You need to go build something. Pew pew pew. Ha ha ha. Pew 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 pew.